know that what happened after the conquest of Mecca, what happened, the Prophet ﷺ came and the door of the Kaaba was opened, and the Prophet ﷺ, he broke all of the idols that were inside the Kaaba. And this is obviously a very famous part of the Islamic victory, but the books of history actually go into a lot more detail than that as to what actually happened. When the Prophet ﷺ, he conquered Mecca, he didn't come in the state of arrogance. He came in the state of humility. And it was such that the camel that he was riding on, his head was almost touching the camel. He was so humbled, and he was so lowering himself in humility for the victory that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him. He wasn't walking in with a high head, with his head held high. Rather, he was being as humble as possible and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this victory. So when he got to the Kaaba was locked. Okay, the door of the Kaaba was locked, and the key had been in the family of Uthman ibn Talha for many generations prior to Islam. And he felt basically that he wasn't going to give the key over, because he felt that he would lose the stewardship or the custodianship of the key of the Kaaba. So he hid, and he didn't want to give the key. It's mentioned in the riwayat that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he searched for him, found him, and forcefully took the key from him, and he brought it to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who then proceeded to open the door of the Kaaba. And he entered inside, and then as he came out, the Prophet ﷺ was approached by Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, who saw the key in the hand of the Prophet ﷺ and said that, we have the custodianship of feeding the Hujjaj already, and we are honored with this responsibility of taking care of the Hujjaj and giving them water. Now we can also take the key and have a higher status, even more than before. So the family of the Prophet ﷺ, they had the responsibility of giving the water to the Hujjaj, but they didn't have the custodianship of the key. So Abbas, he said, why don't we just take the key also, so now we can have a double honor in addition to the honor that we already had. But according to a riwayat of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when the Prophet ﷺ actually emerged from the Kaaba, he was reciting a verse that they had not heard before, indicating that this particular verse had been revealed inside the Kaaba itself, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَى أَهْلِهَا وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ نِعِمَّا يَعِظُكُمْ بِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering you. So the wording is very powerful, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could just say, return the key or return the amana back to the owners. Okay, but he started off by saying, indeed, inna Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering you, O Prophet of Allah, ordering all of you to return the amana back to the owners of that amana, which basically meant that Uthman ibn Talha should be given back to the key of the Kaaba. So the Prophet ﷺ, he basically showed by example that relationship, what his uncle was asking him, is not as important as the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he returned the key back to Ali radiallahu ta'ala and said, give the key back to Uthman ibn Talha, and apologize for being rough with him in the first place. And according to one riwayah, Uthman ibn Talha had not yet become a Muslim yet, and when he saw that the respect that the Prophet ﷺ had given him, he actually became a Muslim at that time. And other riwayah, they say that he was already a Muslim, but he was still afraid that he would not be given back the responsibility of the Kaaba. So that's why he didn't want to give over the key. But in any case, just for your information, the Prophet ﷺ, as he was giving the key, he said that this key will remain in your family until, and this will be the case until the Day of Judgment, unless a zalim or an oppressor, he takes away the key from you. And the reality is that the family of Uthman ibn Talha, until this day, they are the custodians of the key of the Kaaba. It is still the case. But the point is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ordered the Prophet ﷺ to be just, and He gave priority to justice and the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over the request of His own uncle. The second story, it's also related to justice. It's a story of a person who got into a dispute with a Jewish person, and they had a different opinion as to who they should go to adjudicate this dispute. And ironically, the Jewish person said, I want to go to Muhammad because I know that he's going to be fair in giving judgment. And the Muslim, he said, no, I want to go to such and such a fortune teller who is from your people, and he knew that maybe he might get the judgment in his favor by going to that person. So basically the thing is that, and again this is something that many people do, people look not for the right thing to do and what is haqq. What people tend to do is they look for their interest. Okay, so when it's in people's interests to go to the Imam to get the judgment, they will go to the Imam. And when it's in their interest to go to the court, they will go to the court to get the judgment. So this is not what Islam is about. Islam is that you take the Quran and the Sunnah and you observe what the Quran and the Sunnah says. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed verses about this person who wanted to go to that other person, non-Muslim person, because he thought that that person might rule in his favor because of some friendship or whatever. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ يَزْعُمُونَ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ يُرِيدُونَ أَنْ يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا أَنْ يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ. So do you not see those people that claim, or they think that they have iman on what was revealed upon you and what was revealed before you, and they go to for judgment. يُرِيدُونَ أَنْ يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. They go to Taghut. Taghut is a general term for falsehood and things which are false and batil. So they go to the Taghut, falsehood, to get a judgment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has says that they're not supposed to go to that person. So the summary is that when we want to get the true and proper decision, we need to make sure that that decision is, wherever that decision is from, we need to make sure that we are always following the right. It's mentioned in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that many people, they have a very good way of speaking, and they can present their case to the judge. In this case, the Prophet ﷺ said about himself that they can present their case to me in such a way that I might rule in their favor. But if I'm ruling in favor of a person who is not supposed to get that judgment, he needs to be aware that he is actually consuming, by taking that right, a portion of the hellfire. Okay, so even the Prophet ﷺ said that getting the judgment in your favor is not the thing that makes something right or wrong. Okay, if you take something to a court or to a judge or a qadi, and you know that you're not deserving of whatever it is that you're suing for, whatever it is, but you win that case. Winning the case is not sufficient. Okay, you have to know that it's correct and the right thing that you did also, in addition to winning the case. If you knew that you were not in the right and you took that judgment, then the Prophet ﷺ said that you are actually consuming the hellfire. The third story is also about passing judgment, about which verses were revealed. There was a dispute between Abdullah ibn Zubayr and a person who were sharing. It was actually Abdullah ibn Zubayr's water that Abdullah ibn Zubayr used to make available for other people. And specifically one person, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and started complaining. Now, Abdullah ibn Zubayr was a cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet, he actually ruled that, Abdullah, why don't you just allow this person to take X amount of water for so many days so that he can also benefit from it. But as he was giving this judgment, the person blurted out you're giving this judgment in his favor because he's your cousin. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ now became very upset and his face changed. And he said that, the real justice was that Abdullah ibn Zubayr doesn't give you anything because it's actually his water. I was trying to be soft and gentle with you and trying to persuade him to give you the water, but now, no. I will pass the exact ruling, and the truth of the matter is that Abdullah ibn Zubayr actually is supposed to get everything, and that's the true matter. So verses were revealed saying that people need to make sure that they accept the judgment of the Prophet ﷺ. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. They can never have iman until, O Prophet of Allah, they make you a judge of what is occurring between them, and then after you pass the judgment, after you give the judgment, then they don't have any haraj inside them. They don't find any discomfort inside them. Meaning, once you get a religious ruling, once the Quran and the Sunnah, it says something, then you have to observe, and you don't ask any questions. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is what the Prophet ﷺ says, and we have to accept it. And this was why these verses were revealed against that person who spoke up in a very rude way against our beloved Prophet ﷺ. The next story was about a person named Thawban radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Thawban was a person who loved the Prophet ﷺ very much. And he came to the Prophet ﷺ one day and said, Ya Rasulullah, whenever I go away from you, I just cannot wait to come back to be with you and to see you. And whenever I'm away from you, I'm always thinking about you. And then all of a sudden I got this thought in my head that in the Day of Judgment, you're going to be way away from us with the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, and we common people, lay persons, we're going to be so far away from you. So, I'm thinking what's going to happen to us when we're going to miss you so much. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed verses to console this person. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. If you want to be with the Prophet, and you want to be with the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, and the martyrs and the pious people, then what you need to do, ita'a of Allah and His Prophet. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ Whoever obeyed Allah and His Prophet, he will be with the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. He will be with the Siddiqeen, he will be with the martyrs, he will be with the pious people. So it's an easy equation if we only were to adopt it and put it into practice. And finally, the final story is about a person who was given the leadership of a particular group of people, a platoon which was sent out on an expedition. And the Prophet ﷺ, as they were leaving, told them to make sure that they obey the Amir and not to disobey him. Now something happened along the lines that maybe this person, the leadership got to his head or something, or he was trying to test the people out. When they were at a secluded area, he told them, okay, didn't the Prophet ﷺ tell you to obey the Amir? They said, yes, of course. He said, okay, go and collect firewood. So they all collected firewood. He said, okay, now light the fire. Light a huge fire. Okay, they lit the fire. Then he told everybody, okay, now jump into the fire. So the people were astonished. Why is this person telling us to jump into the fire? This doesn't seem right. Okay, even though we're supposed to obey the Amir, then this doesn't seem correct. So they said, okay, let's take this case to the Prophet ﷺ. They took the case and explained everything, and the Prophet ﷺ told them that if they had actually jumped into the fire, then they would have stayed in the fire until the Day of Judgment. Meaning that it would have been a perpetual punishment for them for doing something which is against Islam, which is harming yourself. And in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the verses, the very famous phrase, لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. There is no obedience to the creation in the disobedience of the Creator. And this basically gave rise to the revelation of the verses, يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَحْسَنُ تَأْوِيلًا. O people of Iman, obey Allah and obey the Prophet and the person who's been made an Amir from amongst you. But if you have a dispute about something, then go back to Allah and His Prophet. Return back to Allah and His Prophet and get a judgment from them. Okay, if there's a difference of opinion, if you are confused, then Allah and His Prophet, they are the ones to be consulted, as the Sahaba did in this case. And in our day and age, the same thing applies. If you obey Allah, you obey the Prophet, you obey the Amir and the leadership, but if the leadership tells you to do something which is against Islam, or something that you're confused about, if you are not sure that it's true, correct or not, then Quran and the Sunnah are the things that adjudicate between us all. So all of these verses were part of Surah An-Nisah. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand what is being said and heard.
جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا